Hello, Louisiana. Life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid. I think most of us know that. And sometimes the federal government is stupid. I want to talk for a few minutes about one of those times that the federal government has been stupid and how we fixed it. I think it's good news. It's good news for all Louisianians and Americans who care about fairness. And it's especially good news if you're a police officer or a firefighter or a teacher in Louisiana. I'm going to talk about the retirement benefits that you worked for and a new change to Social Security that we in Congress just made and that I've been fighting for throughout my time in the Senate and even back when I was state treasurer from Louisiana. Here's the problem. For too long, government has had this bone deep, down to the marrow, stupid rule that said if you worked in the private sector and paid into Social Security, and you also spent some of your career working for government, say you were a teacher and paid into a pension, when you retired, instead of getting your full Social Security benefits from the time you worked in the private sector and your full pension from the time that you worked for government, let's say as a teacher, your Social Security benefits would be reduced in part because you're getting a pension from your time working as a teacher. Now, if that sounds dumb and complicated, it's because it was. For too long, Louisianians who served our state and served our communities have been hurt by these dumb Social Security laws, and there are two of them that we fixed. The first one is called the Windfall Elimination Provision in the Social Security Act. That's now gone. We fixed it. And the other one was called the Government Pension Offset. Let's start with the Windfall Elimination Provision. Let's take, for example, Jenny Smith. Jenny worked part of her career for government as a teacher. Let's say she worked for a decade. And then she decided to stop being a teacher and go to work for a small business in the private sector, let's say writing school books. When Jenny was a teacher, she paid into a pension. It was her money. When she was in the private sector writing school books, she also paid into Social Security with her hard-earned money. Now, the Windfall Elimination Provision said that when Jenny retired, she wasn't going to get all of her Social Security benefits. Social Security was going to deduct part of Jenny's benefit payment because she also received a pension from her time as a teacher. Makes no sense. This policy punished Jenny for working in both the public sector and the private sector. It punished Jenny for paying into her pension in the public sector while she was a teacher. And as a result, she didn't get all of her Social Security benefits, and that's just wrong. The other troublesome provision that we fixed was called the Government Pension Offset. Well, let's consider the example of Greg Brown. Greg has been a cop his entire life, God bless him. Greg has paid into a pension throughout his entire career. Greg is married to Gina. Gina has worked in the private sector. Let's say she's been an office administrator for a private company. Gina has paid into Social Security throughout her entire time in the private sector. Unfortunately, Gina passes away. Under the law, Greg is entitled to receive what's called survivor Social Security benefits as a result of Gina having worked in the private sector. The Government Pension Offset Provision, however, said that Social Security would deduct 2/3 of Greg's pension from the survivor benefit. In other words, instead of getting the full survivor benefits from Gina's time in the private sector, Greg's survivor benefits from Social Security would be reduced because Greg got a pension from the public sector from working as a cop. I mean, this just makes no sense. This provision punished Greg because he worked in the public sector and paid into a pension. So in effect, these two provisions, the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset provision, were penalizing public servants, teachers, cops, firefighters, for working hard to earn their pensions. Now, as I say, there's good news. The Senate just passed a bill. The bill was called the Social Security Fairness Act. We got rid of those two dumb provisions in the Social Security law that I just talked about. I worked to kill these two unfair provisions back when I was state treasurer in Louisiana, and I've worked for 7 years, almost 8 years, as a United States Senator to get rid of them. Why? Because I wanted to make sure that Louisianians who received a pension from their work in public service could collect their full Social Security benefits in retirement. No tricky cuts that would hurt them and their families. These folks I've been talking about, they didn't go into public service to get rich. We shouldn't punish these good people for their public service by making them poorer, especially when some of my colleagues here in Washington have been obsessed with giving taxpayer dollars to people who are in our country illegally in the form of free school and free flights. Some states and cities are even giving illegal immigrants free health care and free housing. And that's just not right. Social Security is not free. People pay in Social Security. The money that we spent today in this bill, all we did was give it back to the people who earned it. Look, I think today was a good day. It was a good day for fairness. It was a good day for the Social Security system. And it was a good day for the people of Louisiana, even if you weren't affected by these two unfair provisions of the Social Security Act. Most Louisianians that I know of, all that I know of, believe in fairness. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I think we did the right thing here, and I'm pleased.